Hey everyone, welcome to Creepy Inquiries,
a podcast dedicated to all things creepy, spoopy, and true crimey.
With your hosts,
Miss
Kevin
and Edie, your friendly neighborhood queers.
Let's go! All right, episode 58ers.
Hello, episode 58. Are you ready to open a can of whoop ass? Because Steve Austin's 58. Why? Because Stone Cold said so.
Because Stone Cold said so. 316, right?
Austin 316, that's right. Wendy Williams, 58. I told you this was a good one.
How you doing?
How you doing?
She's an icon. I actually do not like Wendy Williams.
Me
whatsoever,
neither. No.
I enjoy her sound bites. Yeah.
She makes a hell of a sound bite, and she is the moment. She has so many terrible takes, and she sounds like a very bad person.
Honestly, I feel like she only has terrible takes.
You know who's not a terrible person and who is also 58? America's sweetheart, Keanu Reeves.
He's you know, we love
America's
Keanu.
Sweetheart.
We love Keanu Reeves, and I'll say it again: Matrix 4 Resurrections is good. It's good.
I agree.
Need to see it.
Baby Bangs, Scream Queen, Courtney Cox, 58.
Oh yes, and the Scream 6 trailer just dropped this week.
In the background of the Scream 6 trailer can be seen a blurry poster for another podcast, another true crime and paranormal podcast called Last Podcast on the Left.
Ooh, I totally missed that. That's awesome.
Kill
Their
yourselves.
logo right in the back. It's very cool.
It's pretty great. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you caught in the net? Because Sandra Bullock is 58.
Wait. Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock are 58. So both America's Sweethearts.
Both of them.
And they are passing letters to each other in the lake house.
Oh my God.
And they're both 58.
Oh my God. They can't go below 55 because they're both 58. Because of speed.
Yeah.
Right.
The best. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Don Cheadle's 58.
Oh.
All right.
Like
Good
Don
for him. Good for him.
Would you like to burn through the witches and run through the ditches and hop in the back of my Dragula? Because Rob Zombie is 58.
All right.
Nice.
And finally, Lenny Kravitz is 58. Also, We Did It, Joe. Kamala Harris is 58.
Okay, you could have stopped with Lenny. I was about to. You stopped the sexiest for last. But then
I should have had the sexiest,
Kamala.
and I threw a Kamala in there.
But enough about Kamala. Lenny Kravitz.
I think many Americans have seen his penis because he had a wardrobe malfunction during a concert.
Sure did.
Right?
And I'll never forget that picture because I saw it while I was working in my old job at the computer next to me when my then boss and my then coworker were looking at it on a company computer at the same time that I was doing the company mandated HR training for sexual harassment in the workplace.
Excellent. That timing is perfect. That timing is perfect. We look at Lenny Kravitz's penis respectfully.
Respectfully.
Well, hey, welcome to Creepy Inquiries.
Welcome, everyone.
It's episode 58. I told y'all that 58 was chock-a-block full of good celebs.
Yes.
Did not disappoint.
And Edie, I just had a realization.
Yes.
I do need to stop the pod right now to tell you specifically because I did not realize how much Nick Cave was actually a part of my life.
Yes.
I've never put these two and two together because, quite frankly, I didn't know it was him that did this song. But speaking of the Scream franchise,
yes,
his well-known song "Red Right Hand" is very prominently used throughout the franchise.
Take a little walk through the edge of town, go across the tracks.
Yeah, damn it! I had no.
Where the viaduct moves like a bird of doom as it slips and cracks. Yes, it's very good. It also got nearly ruined by being the opening theme song to the very annoying bro-tastic show Peaky Blinders. And so every
was it?
every page boy hat wearing 30s gangster wannabe got into Nick. And I'm like, you don't even know Nick. But I'm very, very excited because Red Right Hand is a very good Nick Cave song. It's a very good one. Yeah.
I had no idea that was Nick Cave. And so thank you. Yeah. Well, I appreciate everyone for tuning in to this here episode of 58 of Creepy Inquiries podcast.
Yeah.
With your co-hosts, Miss, Kevin, and Edie. We're all here.
Now, who is this character that we're meeting?
Oh, I have no idea. I can't tell you. I have no idea.
Let's see. It's
still probably going to be Leslie Jordan.
I was going to say it's Leslie Jordan. It's Leslie Jordan's like slightly more down home cousin.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah,
how was everybody's weekend? Miss, what kind of shenanigans did you get up into?
Only the craziest. I have been cross-stitching all day.
Oh, yes.
So all of you young grandmas out there with me, this is my first real attempt at like an actual project, not just like a kit I bought somewhere. And I've got 5 whole lines and I've cross-stitched back and forth and no errors so far. So that's been fun. And I've also just been reading a lot, which has been great.
That's delightful. I love this journey for you.
Yes, I wanted, not that I do much anyway, but I just wanted
relax
and weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, what about you guys?
I had to go for work. I had to do 2 things one day right after the other day in the same far-flung part of the state of Maryland. And so I got to stay in a hotel, which I never get to do. I missed my partner very much, so we picked up dinner at the same time and watched YouTube while FaceTiming together because we are never apart.
I could grow up. That's so sweet.
It was incredibly sweet and cute.
No, it's very
and
nice.
I watched a little bit of hotel TV, saw some like.
Did you see any hotel documentaries?
No documentary films. None of the specialty documentary films.
Better often.
No, because
available.
It's also on the my work is paying for it. I don't want any of that on there.
Okay,
but I did for sure watch like Ghost Hunters House Calls or something like that.
What?
Y'all, it is horse shit.
But it's specifically house calls? What other kind of ghost hunting
it's like
is
it's people. I think because Ghost Hunters Classic is like, this is a house that's like so-called famously haunted.
Okay.
But then the house call one is like,
Less
people
famous.
have called our place to be like, there's creaking and squeaking in their homes, and like the main guy sending out the ghost hunters will be like, look guys, unfortunately I'm gonna have to send you on this thing. Like, unfortunately, this is your bread and butter. You live for this.
But anyway.
Kev, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? This weekend I had my lovely in-laws had come to visit Baltimore, came to visit me and the husband, and it was lovely.
Right here in Harm City.
Right here. They love it. But it was great. We went out to dinner, we went out to a museum, and it was lovely to catch up with them, and it was great. And they just left like about an hour ago before I clicked record. Yeah.
Nice. What museum did you go to?
We went to the Baltimore Museum of Art.
Ooh.
Nice. Did you eat at Gertrude's?
They were busy. We went on a Saturday.
They are busy, yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to reserve.
I didn't know that we could have. So yeah. But they were busy. There's a current John Waters exhibit, not of his work, but his art collection that he's collected throughout the years.
His art collection.
Wow.
That's right. That's at the BMA right now.
I had a great time.
Lovely. I haven't been to a museum since
cool.
pre-COVID.
Oh,
I need to fix
Mama. Are there any where you live, miss? And I mean that earnestly. Okay.
No, there are. Let's see.
There's a butter churning museum, I'm sure. Different kinds of churners. Different kinds of spoked wheels.
We have a museum of art, 1 second. Museum of Art. There's a Facebook account for it, and that seems to be it. And I think
that's legit.
I think that is it.
Probably in someone's barn, I would think, on their property.
There is a art school.
Listeners, we're never going to tell you where Miss lives because that is our prerogative. But suffice it to say, it is not cosmopolitan.
It is not Baltimore.
In this room, we have grandmama's quilts. And in this other room, we have great-grandmama's quilts.
Hence the cross stitch.
Hence the cross stitch. You're right.
Hence the cross stitch. Well, the ones I'm doing are kind of witchy, so I would be met with pitchforks immediately. It's actually kind of nice. The longer I'm here, I like it.
Edie, we got to get her out of there quick. She's starting to like it.
Well, I told you.
She's starting to like it. It's Stockholm syndrome.
It might be. I kind of just like my apartment a lot.
It's like a little bit of Appalachian country syndrome.
No, but there's going to be, listen, who knows what's going to happen. Next week, I may or may not meet other queer people here. And maybe,
that's right.
It's
happening.
Because you're doing a speed dating thing, speed friendship thing.
The speed dating meetup is happening.
I thought you just meant in life in general. And I'm like, that can happen anywhere.
I'm doing the secret.
Lightning could strike. I could meet another queer person.
No. I'm doing the secret. I don't know if you've heard about it. So I'm
because it's a secret.
I'm putting it out into
She's manifesting.
Yes,
it's a secret.
Kevin, I hate you. Yeah, I'm just putting it out there, just like honing like a bat. Just like maybe I could feel some other queer people, but that's a different subject.
That's a whole different podcast.
Reach out, touch queer.
Just looking for friends. We're just looking for friends for now. I've only been having a meltdown about it at least once a day. We'll see. I'm sure they'll pick up this week.
In advance of your fun, sexy time, I have a true crime story about a fun, sexy time.
A fun, sexy time.
Is it going to get... Oh, okay. Okay, let's do it.
You know how sometimes a person just, has it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I'm unfamiliar.
Like that je ne sais quoi.
Have it
that
going
juice.
On in the general sense.
They've just got it. That vibe that draws people to them, that animal magnetism that makes it so that people will just do anything for them.
Yeah.
But today's story is about someone who had it.
Okay.
Valborga Korschel was born around 1880 to German immigrant parents. She grew up near Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in a German immigrant community.
Tracks.
For some reason, she rarely went by her given first name, Valborga, and people instead called her Dolly.
Okay, while I love Dolly, and I do love Dolly, Valborga, that's kind of a great name.
Yeah, that slaps.
Name.
Hello, I'm Valborga. It slaps. It's lit.
It's not just that he said it slaps. He goes, that slaps.
You might as well have been grilling when you said that.
I might as well.
Now, Dolly's folks didn't have much, and this is the late 1800s. So when she was 12, Dolly started working at a textile mill owned by Fred Österreich, another German guy who'd become a successful factory owner. Fred was a manufacturer of women's clothing, mainly kitchen aprons. People need aprons.
Fine.
They buy them from Fred.
You're right.
Yeah, aprons are important.
Fred was one of those work hard, play hard types. He worked long hours and he drank a lot. But despite his faults, Fred was undeniably rich.
Good.
Rich.
Good. Some people they're really into that.
Some people are so into that.
Like really?
Harvey Weinstein was married for a very long time. Now, Dolly was a popular kid among the factory workers and was by all accounts attractive.
Okay. All right. Well, with a name like Valborga.
You have my attention.
Is that Jedediah?
Halle Berry, that has some kick. Well, Fred ultimately noticed this attractive child and married Dolly when she was 17.
Okay. God, when you...
Maybe in her early 20s. Sources differ, but young.
No, sure.
She started working there at 12, for sure. And Fred had his eye on her, for sure.
17's better than 14, I guess.
But also in the late 1800s, there were no such thing as teenagers. So
It's true.
No, that's true. I mean, truly.
True.
17 was a full adult. No question.
Yeah, by the time you were like 40, you were ancient.
And especially the less you have, the more poverty you experience.
For sure. I mean, she's working at an apron factory at 12.
Things are going good.
Dolly stayed popular among the workers even after becoming the boss's child bride. She would resolve labor disputes between workers and management by acting as a middlewoman between the laborers and the more prickly and unlikable Fred.
Okay,
that's good.
Yeah.
Kind of like a union rep.
Yeah, kind of. She's like,
liaison.
look, I've got an in with management, so I'm sure that we can work this out. For most of the time, Fred was at the mills and Dolly was left sitting at home, wasting her hotness on the four walls around her. And when Fred was home, their marriage wasn't super happy. Fred drank and the two fought, and Fred wasn't giving it to Dolly as much as she wanted it given to her.
She's a young buck, okay? You marry a 17-year-old, you have to know what you're getting. You need the stamina.
So Dolly didn't waste time when she had the house to herself.
What you doing?
Rumor had it that she would invite lovers to the house during the day while Fred was off working and getting that bread.
I don't support it, but I don't hate it. Just kidding.
In 1913, when Dolly was 33, she was introduced at the factory to a 17-year-old sewing machine repairer named Otto Sanhuber, who worked for Fred. The pin has dropped for Miss.
Oh, so a light bulb has gone off for Miss. Yeah.
Miss now knows what this story is.
I absolutely, without doubt, know what this story is.
Miss now knows what this story is, and I'm delighted.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now, Otto, 17, was a little dude. He was thin, he was owlish, and he was eager to please.
Oh, there we go.
Dolly was intrigued. So one day she called Fred at work to tell him her sewing machine was broken and was there anyone Fred could send to fix it? Oh, sure, Fred said. Otto will be right over. When Otto arrived, Dolly answered the door in nothing but stockings, a silk robe, and some perfume.
Just my everyday wear.
Just some everyday mommy dom wear. Don't worry about it. The two of them were off to the races. They would meet up at Otto's boarding house, at nearby hotels, and at Dolly and Fred's home. Otto would later say that the two of them made love up to 8 times a day.
Damn.
I could never.
Never.
Don't even fucking look at me. Are you kidding?
8
8
a day?
8 times a day. I could never.
I know he's 17, but 8 is a lot from what I understand. Okay. All right. So they're fucking. All right. A lot.
Now, again, the ages here are gross. The cycle of trauma continues.
Yes, it does.
And oh boy,
Ooh.
does it continue. Because eventually, neighbors, little nosy neighbors, nosy Nancys and Nelsons, started asking about this kid who kept going in and out of the house while Fred was away.
She's got a faulty sewing machine. Mind your own business, Doris.
It keeps breaking. The sewing machine just keeps breaking.
I'm just a little
8 times a
heavy-handed.
day, my sewing machine breaks.
I just can't thread it the right way.
Somebody's got to thread that needle. Dolly threw off the scent by saying Otto was her vagabond half-brother.
Oh.
Okay.
But eventually, suspicions grew, and there were one too many close calls with Fred.
Mm-hmm.
So there was only one thing for it. See, Fred and Dolly had an attic. I mean, it was more like a crawl space, but Fred never went up there, and it was just big enough for Otto to stay in. I mean, it had a cot and a desk. What else could a teen boy want?
The ability to
Autonomy?
Well, like, here's the thing.
The ability to leave?
He'd have to quit his job and leave all other human relationships behind and stay in the attic, like, always.
What?
Always.
An actual sex slave, essentially.
Like a literal sex companion.
A little boy in the attic who comes down to fuck you 8 times a day while your husband's working in the mill.
That's right. 8 times a day.
8 times? So
8 times.
So there's a bed up there?
The whole time? 8 times?
The whole time?
8 times?
And he's still 17 at this point.
At this point, he is 17. Yeah.
And he's just like, okay, I'll give up everything.
Otto
and how old is she again?
She's 33.
Okay.
Otto didn't mind. He didn't have a family. And as the LA Times would later write in 1930, he said he came to love Dolly as a boy loves his mother.
Oh, is this little Eddie Gein?
It's a little bit Eddie Gein.
Oh.
And look, we are never kink shaming. We are never mommy dom shaming. We love a mommy dom in this house.
Oh, absolutely.
Always. Also,
but that's not what you were saying.
You need to have an out, and also you don't really have an out. You can't call a safe word when you live in an attic 24/7.
I was just going to say, there's no...
You can't call it off when you're an attic boy.
Like, what
is
are you
going to... consent, really?
If he's stuck in the attic and can only move when you tell him to, is it consent?
Right?
It's got to be against the rules.
Unless they sign some, like, contract or agreement.
17, he can't contract.
There you go. Okay, there we go. We've looked at this from all angles, folks.
Okay, all right.
So later in 1913, Otto moved in. Dolly would bring him books from the library every week, mainly nautical adventures or pulp fiction books that you could buy for 10 cents. They're like mysteries or detective novels. He read voraciously, and he started writing stories of his own. And he even published a few adventurous and erotic tales from the attic under a pen name.
Well, then maybe we are not thinking about this right way. Maybe he can. I don't know.
Listen, he's already making a life for himself. He's got an income. He's got a career.
If you're an attic boy, you've got to have a rich inner life.
You really do.
You really do.
You really do. And listen, as someone who...
You got to make your own fun around here.
Yeah, literally. Someone who loves to be alone a lot, I think I would die in an attic situation where I wasn't allowed to leave. But being alone for a long time, I got a rich upstairs.
I absolutely love being alone, and I've always loved being alone.
Same.
But even then, being an attic boy would be difficult.
Being an attic boy would be impossible for me.
Yeah.
Far too loud.
Well, he's not always an attic boy, because when Fred was out during the day, Otto would, of course, make love to Dolly. He'd do housework. He'd eat scraps left over from the kitchen. Yeah, he would make love to his mommy.
So wait, Dolly mommy's not even giving him a whole meal? He's eating scraps?
He gets scraps.
And he loves it.
Well,
part of it. That little piss pig loved it.
Listen, if he wasn't 17, I would probably say yes. He's very into it.
If it wasn't like so absolutely fucked up on so many levels, it would be pretty great.
5 years
if he was
older.
like truly loving it and everybody was on board and it wasn't to hide from Fred.
Right. Where he's like an actual whole person making decisions.
Right. Exactly. Then it would rule. It would be great.
Right.
But,
live your best life.
Because And Otto also made bathtub gin because this was the time when bathtub gin was a thing.
I feel like Otto might be thriving.
You know?
I know.
In like a way that I don't condone.
Has any one of us published a book or made bathtub gin?
No.
And we can leave whenever we want.
What have we done?
Anytime. I feel like maybe we don't have enough structure in our lives and strictures it's really holding us back.
What we really need to do is live in crawl spaces and let our fucking muscles atrophy.
This reminds me so much of like the consensual version of the Spider-Man of Denver.
Yeah.
Yes, I was thinking about that.
I covered
Think back
that story.
to the episode that we had about the Spider-Man of Denver.
Yeah. This is like
when you started that story, I initially thought that you were going to be talking about Dolly and Otto, but very quickly I was like, no, this is the wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, no, mine was much creepier. This one sounds much more laid back. And
Look, we're having fun.
We are.
Fast forward to 1918. Otto had been living in the attic for 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God. Okay.
She must
just
be
like
a hoot and a half in the sack.
Okay, what is going on?
Puss is magic.
Like it is the standard. It's got to be like the industry standard. Like she has to just have top snatch because
we can only dream of the game that she has. When I say that Dolly had it, she had to have it top shelf.
And that's why she had that attic top shelf lover.
That's right.
Off the shelf.
Yeah.
5 years.
Now, Fred started to think he was losing his mind.
Ooh, but it doesn't hurt that he's an alcoholic.
Exactly.
You can gaslight an alcoholic.
She was gaslighting the fuck out of him because he kept hearing noises from the attic and seeing shadows passing outside his bedroom door at night. And his cigars kept going missing, and he doesn't smoke that many cigars. And Dolly's like, Fred, you're drunk.
Okay. No, listen, again, I don't condone gaslighting anyone, addict or otherwise, but it is very easy in this situation. Oh boy. Okay.
Finally, he was fed up. He told Dolly they were packing up and moving to Los Angeles.
And where are they now?
Milwaukee.
All right. Huh. Okay, so halfway across the country?
Dolly agreed. She had one condition. The new house had to have an attic.
Sure did.
Interesting.
And as your husband, that doesn't make me want to go check our current attic for anything.
The attic that you ignore and then tell me there's nothing in it and then change the subject every time? Just like all of a sudden.
Like, don't they have like Christmas ornaments or some shit that they keep up there? Like, what's going on?
That's woman's work. She goes in and gets
stuff.
the ornaments.
Oh.
That's her shit.
Yeah, she gets the ornaments. Do you think Fred's out there decorating?
No, he ain't no beta male.
No,
she's just pouring him like 4.5 fingers of Glenlivet at a time.
Here's the thing. It turns out he was just kind of a heavy social drinker before they got together, and she turned him into the alcoholic. She just kept feeding him so she could see her teenage love child.
When the new house was purchased, Otto went west ahead of Dolly and Fred and was settled into his new home before the Easter eggs even arrived.
This man.
Oh, great.
Yeah, boy, got a
attic.
key to the house.
This man was just like, I
So
love
he can
her.
go up and lock himself in the attic.
Yes.
Like, he's like
That boy
outside.
is whipped with a capital W.
This is like Patty Hearst. Like, what are we doing? Because this boy is now 22, can do whatever he wants. He's out of the locked attic. He's outside in the real
He's
world.
out. He's
and
out.
all he does, he just runs and hides in the next attic.
He would later describe this time as being very confusing to him and was like kind of freaking out until Dolly came back to him.
So he's been institutionalized.
He needed to be in the attic.
I'm an attic man. What can I say?
He's an attic man. The world
like a lady
is too
with a
big
nice
for
attic.
Listen, I love a small space. I live in a tiny apartment and like unironically love a small space. This man, I feel like this is different. Or maybe I just wanted to be different.
In LA, Fred and Dolly's marriage got rockier. Fred's drinking became more intense, wonder why, and their fights became violent.
Okay, good.
On August 22nd, 1922, 4 years after moving to LA.
9 years living in an attic. Wow. Attic. Not addict.
Yes.
Wow. Sorry.
Fred and Dolly were having a particularly brutal fight.
Oh, no.
Otto, listening in, couldn't see what was happening, but from the sounds of it, thought that Dolly's life was in danger. So this little dude shimmies out of the attic, runs downstairs, grabbed Fred's two .25 caliber handguns, and brandished one in each hand.
Akimbo.
Whoa.
Fred recognized Otto and hulked out.
I'm sure he did. He's like, you?
You?
The sewing machine repairman?
You?
From 9 years ago? No,
Her?
Him?
And
Him.
Veal?
Me?
And her?
Us?
Okay.
What, is
So
she
he's-
funny or something? In the ensuing struggle, Otto fired 3 rounds into Fred's chest, killing him instantly.
Okay. Not gonna lie. Totally forgot about this part of the story. I did
You thought
not.
that they just went their separate ways
You
afterwards?
get blinded by the fuck addict of it all.
I'm blinded by the fuck addict. I think that's what it has to be because I truly
Wait, the
do
attic
not.
fucked attic. The
Yes.
attic addict.
He's addicted to the attic.
Uh-huh.
Got it.
Likes a nice
Okay.
attic.
All right. So he's shooting. He's shooting Fred.
Ba-boom, boom.
Pop, pop, pop.
Ba-boom,
Ba-boom, boom.
boom.
Now, this situation is less than ideal. Dolly and Otto had to think fast. I mean, what were they going to do? Move the body? Otto's poor muscles are atrophied from living in a tiny attic for 9 years. And Dolly wasn't about to do it herself. And there was blood everywhere. And somebody probably heard those gunshots. So
Those guns
they
were
had to
heavy
leave
enough.
Fred there.
Yeah, this is 1920
Otto's,
gun, or
these
30s
25
gun.
caliber handguns are not very big, but I'm imagining like Otto just
Gents.
like shaking his forearms, shaking, trying to hold them with his weak ass attic arms.
I'm sure he got knocked over by shooting one of them, just like from the force of it.
Flies back into the wall.
The recoil just
Yeah.
throws him back Matrix style into a wall.
Yeeted himself.
So they had to leave Fred's body there, but how to explain what happened? Well, Fred was rich. People knew Fred was rich. So what if they made it look like a burglary gone wrong?
This will be
So
good.
Otto took Fred's diamond watch off of his wrist. He locked Dolly in the bedroom closet and tossed the key aside. And once Otto had scrambled his little limbs back up into his attic, Dolly started screaming until one of the neighbors called the cops.
Oh, so home invasion.
You know?
And all they took was a watch.
Interesting that you say that, because when police arrived, they thought it was a fishy scene for a botched home invasion.
Right.
Because not that much was missing. And not much was out of place. You'd expect like evidence of a fight or of a panicked smash and grab after the burglar freaked out and shot Fred. But Dolly said the guy only took the watch and then locked her up and ran. And Dolly told the detective that she and Fred never fought. Why offer that information when you're talking about a home invasion?
Interesting, lady.
And I want you to know we've never fought.
We've never fought. Our marriage is great.
I want you to know.
He fucks me exactly as much as I want. And nobody else, because I love him.
And he drinks exactly as much as I decide. So
that might be true.
I'm just saying it could be true in this case.
And let's not forget, Fred was rich, and Dolly wouldn't be the first person to kill their spouse for money.
Mm-mm.
But on the other hand, Dolly couldn't have locked herself in that closet, and there was the key tossed on the floor.
Right.
Okay.
All the cops had was a hunch that something was fucked up, and a hunch wasn't enough. So Dolly inherited Fred's millions and got herself a nice new house with a nice big attic for Otto.
Oh, still an attic, though?
Whoa.
Why?
Whoa. She's not married
because he's
anymore.
an attic boy. He's an attic boy, though.
He's an attic boy.
You can take the attic boy out of the attic, but why would you?
But why would he
He's an
stay
attic boy.
out? He's an attic boy.
And Otto did a shoot, and he's got to hide somewhere, so he might as well hide in the comfort of an attic.
True.
Of a brand new attic.
This is attic number 3 for Otto.
He's walking in those. This one's nice.
I can stand up in this one.
I can do some jumping jacks whenever I want too, because I don't have to be quiet anymore.
I already killed the guy.
This new attic was pretty similar to the old one. Cot, desk, the huge. But now Otto had a typewriter to write on that he bought with the proceeds from selling his stories and with the money that Dolly would sometimes give him. Never in denominations larger than nickels or dimes.
Wow. So an allowance from Mama.
Oh, God. She really is his mommy girlfriend.
Mommy's throwing change at Otto.
Oh.
And Otto's like kneeling on the floor, mouth open, tongue out, ready to catch those nickels and dimes.
Absolutely. I mean, 10 years.
No
doesn't know any
judgment.
better.
No judgment.
A little bit judgment.
If he's into it, but I just don't know if he knows if he is into it.
But that continues. Yeah. Do we know he's into it? 10 years now.
10
3 attics.
years.
2 states. A murder. What's going on?
10 years.
I mean, if he was true.
Are they still doing 8 times a day?
You know, I don't know. I don't know.
She's
And it probably
43
fluctuates.
now.
Nobody
that's
can.
sexual peaks of women, right?
Mid-30s.
I think that's when Kim Cattrall had her like first orgasm and went on Oprah about it and talked about like, I come now. Like,
okay.
she's like, you know, I'm famous for being the cum lady on Sex and the City, but me, Kim Cattrall, I've only started coming very recently, and I'm going to tell you all about it, America.
You better work.
You better work, Kim
Cattrall
Cattrall.
comes.
Thank you, Oprah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, inheriting an estate from a rich factory owner husband is complicated business, and Dolly needed legal help to make sure it all went smoothly. Dolly's lawyer was a guy named Herman Shapiro. And Dolly and Herman had to work long hours together on the estate case. Dolly and Herman got close. So close that Dolly gave Herman a present. A diamond watch.
This bitch.
Herman, not an enormous idiot, recognized the watch as the one the alleged burglar took the night Fred was killed. But Dolly had an explanation.
Uh-huh.
She said she found it later under a window seat cushion. I don't know, maybe the burglar had a last-minute change of heart on the way out the house, you know? I mean, anyway, reporting it would have been just so complicated, and after all, it's a nice watch.
You understand.
But you didn't have to give it to me, is what I'm saying. As your boyfriend. Investigator.
But she did. Now, the men in Dolly's life were devoted, but busy. Herman spent long hours in court or at his law office, and Otto was always in his attic writing.
He's busy. He's got a career to think about. Now that he has his typewriter.
He's got his typewriter. He's writing dime novel erotica. He's got things going on.
Good for him. Good for him.
So Dolly got lonely. She met a local businessman named Roy Klum and took up with him. And after ensorceling Roy with her big naturals, she asked Roy for a little favor.
Her big naturals. Okay. Uh-huh.
You see, Dolly had this gun for her own protection, you know, but the Problem is that the gun looks a lot like the gun that killed her husband. It's the same caliber, right? And so even though it's definitely not the same gun, but if the police were to find that gun, they might suspect Dolly of murder. So would Roy pretty please get it away for her?
This is and who's Roy? He's an attorney?
Businessman.
He is a businessman.
Okay.
Roy said, absolutely, Dolly. And he tossed the gun into the La Brea tar pits. Folks, non-LA folks.
Yeah, non-LA folks. The La Brea tar pits.
Yeah, Kev, what are the La Brea tar pits?
Well, as they are now, they are currently a set of tar pits next to a parking garage for the giant outdoor mall that is now next to the tar pits. But the La Brea tar pits also have the like a mastodon, I believe they have a fake mastodon.
Yeah, they've got lots
dinosaurs?
of Ice Age fossils and stuff in there. It's been an active excavation site for Ice Age fossils since like the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Well, I did not know that actually.
I didn't know that.
I lived there for 4 years. I only saw it driving by it.
Went on a disastrous date to the La Brea tar pits.
Oh,
look, it's a pit of tar.
Technically asphalt, learned today from the La Brea tar pits website.
The most I've ever learned from the La Brea tar pits was from watching Last Action Hero starring Arnold Schwarzenegger from 1993.
Yes.
Do you know what? I think that might be mine as well. Because I have an image of the tar pits, but it's like older. It's like from a movie. So that must be it.
That's the only one that I can think of. Yeah.
Well, Dolly sold a similar story to a neighbor. Remember, there were 2 guns in the mix that night in 1922.
Right.
And the neighbor buried the second gun in his yard under a rose bush.
What does she do to these men?
What does she do?
What does she to get them just to be like,
what
yeah, Dolly,
does she do?
I'll take a gun that's free of crime and not at all controversial.
Look,
and
I'm making him say yes with my body. I'm thinking of Teddy from Bob's Burgers, where Linda teaches him how to dance. I'm making this guy say yes with my body, Bob. So I think that's what she's doing.
Yes.
She's magic.
Her pussy has something in it.
Like this, she's just like, hey, hon, would you bury a gun for me and not ask me any questions? Thank you.
But nothing gold can stay, it seems. Dolly and Roy broke up, possibly because Roy found out about Herman.
Ugh.
And Roy went straight to the police about the gun Dolly gave him and told them where to find it in the tar pits. Turns out that while he could have tossed it far enough in that it sank for a long time and couldn't be recovered, he ended up throwing it in like a super shallow, boggy part of it.
Men.
Okay.
So on July 12th, 1923, almost a year after Fred's shooting, cops found the gun near the tar and arrested Dolly for murder.
He didn't even get it in the pit?
He didn't even get it in the pit.
He half-assed this.
If I were Dolly, I would be fucking furious.
But
also, like, if you want to get something done right, do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
Dolly.
If we've seen any movie, we know you have to do it yourself.
Do it yourself. And the more people that you tell about your criming, the worse it can go for you. And Dolly's just getting so many people involved. Jeez. It's those big naturals. They can't help it. They're blinded by the headlights of her big naturals.
Aren't they called pillows or something? From
Dirty pillows.
Dirty pillows.
Oh my God, the dirty pillows from Carrie. The day the headlines hit about Dolly's arrest, the neighbor went to police as well, having dug up the second gun. But guess what? Both guns were rusted as shit, and nobody could tell whether they were the guns that fired the bullets that killed Fred.
So he didn't totally blow it.
While Dolly was in jail, she told Herman that she needed him to do something. That's when she told him about her vagabond half-brother, Otto. She asked Herman to get some groceries for him and just to tap on the ceiling of the bedroom closet to let him know that he could come out.
Oh, my God.
Herman, flabbergasted, went and did it. And Otto, having not spoken to a non-Dolly human being in 10 years, spilled his fucking guts out.
Oh my God.
He told Herman about living in the attic, about fucking Dolly up to 8 times a day, and about how much he loved her.
Stockholm Syndrome.
Baby. Stockholm hardcore.
He was abandoned, right? As a
It's
baby.
bad.
As like a baby, and then again as like a 10-year-old.
I don't understand. I don't know. I don't know what happened to Otto in his first 17 years of life. But
it wasn't good. I'm
it
just going to say
good.
it. I'm going to
There's
call
no
it.
way it was good. There's no
we all
way.
agree.
Okay, I'm calling it.
Herman didn't take this information very well. Not only because his lady had a bat boy in her attic for 10 years, but because that bat boy could really make this whole murder thing a lot more serious.
Mm-hmm.
So Herman, furious, kicked Otto out, and Bat Boy fled to Canada.
Wow.
Wait, what?
He knew where to go?
He knew how to do that?
He figured it out.
Talked to a lot of other non-Dollies on the way, I bet.
He just, the way that I imagine him running off to Canada is like that scene in Forrest Gump when Forrest starts to run and the braces kind of just fall off and Jenny's like, run, Forrest. And then Otto's just like going off, taking his little tiny atrophied limbs to Canada. Hearings in Dolly's murder case lasted for months. These are pretrial hearings because prosecutors were searching for motive and more evidence. Mm-hmm. They had these guns. They knew they were the same caliber as the guns involved in the shooting, but they couldn't tie them directly to the shooting. And they couldn't explain how Dolly could have locked herself in the closet and dropped the key outside the closet door.
Right.
I mean, it's foolproof.
Eventually, Dolly got sick in jail so seriously that her life was reportedly at risk, and Dolly was released on bail. And then later in 1923, the charges against Dolly were dropped for lack of evidence.
Oh.
Dolly got better, and she and Herman stayed together. He moved in, not to the attic, to the main house.
What?
Herman doesn't have to be an attic person. Dolly's like, oh, Otto's gone? She doesn't give a fuck.
No. She has hose in all different
Dolly's
area
fine.
codes.
She moved him across
Dolly's
the country.
Fine. Dolly's
I'm not
fine.
worried about Dolly.
And neither is Dolly.
I'm not worried.
Dolly's fine.
I'm worried about the poor now Canadian lost boy.
I don't know. He's in Canada. He has great health care.
Well, that's true. At least he's being looked after.
And he ain't living in no more attics, I'll say.
Oh, God, hopefully not.
Dolly and Herman's relationship was tumultuous. I wonder why. Finally, 7 years later, in 1930, Herman and Dolly broke up. Coincidentally, Otto, the absolute idiot, had recently moved back to LA.
What? This is 7 years after freedom?
Yeah, he just moved back. He moved back. He couldn't be, I don't know, I guess he couldn't be away from Dolly. But he's back in LA. Herman was pissed and went to the cops with everything that he knew.
Oh, shit.
He told them all about the ghost in the attic, Otto Sandhuber. This time, both Dolly and Otto were arrested. Dolly was charged with conspiracy to commit murder, and Otto was charged with murder itself.
Wow.
Got it.
The newspapers could not get enough of this story, and they called Otto the Batman. This is before comic books were a thing. So the first Batman is Otto Sandhuber, not Bruce Wayne, that little bitch.
He wishes.
That little punk just had his parents die. Try living in an attic for 10 years, kid.
Exactly.
Voluntarily.
Reporters and photographers followed Dolly and Otto everywhere.
Wait, he fucked her for 40 times in one business week. I just keep...
One
I just...
business? 40?
That would be... That would be torture for me. I would tell you anything to make that stop. That would be terrible. That.
If you're telling me in 5 days you fucked 20 times,
right?
That's
too much.
That's insane.
That's far too much.
Still, yeah.
All right.
No.
All right.
Now, Otto had thought that he was this tragic romantic hero, gallantly giving up the rest of the world for the chance to be with his true love. The public, meanwhile, thought he was a sex freak who got off on being an attic bat.
Mm-hmm.
So, removing the word freak and judgment from that, he had to have gotten off on it for some reason at some point.
Something
about the situation, whether it was just feeling like
it wasn't a deal breaker.
No.
Well, I mean, we'll hear a little bit about it, because at Otto's trial, the defense was a solid one, I guess, that Dolly had turned him into a teen sex slave and just kind of ensorcelled him, and he just couldn't, Stockholm Syndrome style, couldn't get away. Which is not an unreasonable read of the situation. But the guy in front of the jury wasn't a little boy anymore. He was a middle-aged dude with a receding hairline and round glasses.
The little boy angle isn't going to work anymore.
Right, exactly. It's kind of Menendez Brothers style. They tried to make it like these tiny boys, and they're like fully in their 20s by this time.
They're in their late 20s.
Lyle's got a toupee. During the trial, Otto testified, describing an average day in the LA house in the years before Fred's murder.
Lay it on me.
They loved to sleep clean, and I made up the beds for them and put away their clothes and dusted Fred's clothes because he had some beautiful things, and I would keep them in order for him and dust them and dust his shoes, so he would look neat always. And then I would wash the dishes if he wasn't home, and if he was home, he would wash them, and Mrs. Esterreich would dry them because I couldn't then. And I would get the vegetables clean, and they were clean. Everybody praised her, how clean her things were. And I scrubbed the floor and kept it clean and kept the floor neat, She loved to have a beautiful floor and dusted it,
Yeah.
So it
Natürlich.
sounds like he didn't have family, and this was a way for him to belong. Even if it was to his detriment. He belonged to Dolly, and he could listen to her, and then she could be there for him. I don't know.
It's
because you can hear it. He's taking pride in his work.
Yes.
There has to, unless it truly is a Stockholm Syndrome, he has to be benefiting. Otherwise, it would have been very easy for him to leave.
Right. And
he could have left
he could have left any day. He could have just, Fred's at work, he could have just walked.
Right, and he was out cleaning the house anyway. Who's to keep him from walking out the front door?
Right.
The part that gets me is how much pride he took in the compliments that Dolly would get on her housekeeping that was Otto's housekeeping. Ultimately, a jury found Otto guilty of manslaughter on July 1st, 1930.
Okay.
But here's the thing. The statute of limitations for manslaughter in California at the time was 7 years.
What?
By the time Otto was tried and convicted, it was 8 years since Frank's death in 1922. So Otto's conviction was overturned, and at 43 years old, he was free.
Wow.
Otto changed
I guess that's
his
why
name.
we don't have statute of limitations on any kind of murder anymore. Or any kind of homicide. Oof.
Otto changed his name to Walter Klein, got married to some lady, and lived the rest of his life in obscurity. You know what? Good for Otto.
Good for Otto.
Good for Otto.
I mean, not killing.
And you know what?
No, yeah.
Being an attic bat for so long,
the Batman,
helped him ride out that statute of limitations.
Really did. He intentionally or not.
Wow.
He's good at keeping still and being quiet.
You always know a Milford man.
You always know a Milford man.
Always tell a Milford man.
He had to have been like the Milford man.
Dolly's conspiracy trial went ahead. Right. By this time, she'd taken up with a guy named Ray Hedrick, a man whose naivety I can scarcely fathom.
Okay. like, who is he and why is he this late stage character in this story?
Ray just...
That magical cooch.
And by this time, she's, I think, in her...
Well, if he's
50s?
I was going to say, if he's 43, she's
around
13.
50.
Yeah, she's older than that.
Dolly managed to snag a young and hungry defense attorney who poked enough holes in the state's case, but that by the time deliberations rolled around, the jury was deadlocked.
Wow.
And
Eventually,
how did she pay him? Talk about having a lawyer on retainer. Here, Mr. Attorney, please come upstairs to my attic for a bit.
Just a quick 10 years in the attic. Eventually, the case ended in a mistrial because the jury was hung. And apparently, most of the jurors were leaning towards acquittal.
Wow. Really? Interesting.
At the end of the day,
yeah, the evidence.
That they couldn't tie the guns to the murders themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there necessarily was a premeditated conspiracy to commit murder of Fred because there wasn't a plan. Otto just heard something, came down, and shot him.
Right. He was,
that was like a quick...
He was protecting her. It was a second decision.
Yeah, there's no evidence to say that Dolly knew that that's what was going to happen during that fight at all.
Right.
Not that I can tell. In 1936, the indictment against Dolly was finally dropped. The state was like, we're not retrying it. We're done.
All right.
Dolly stayed in LA until she died in 1961 at age 80, 2 weeks after marrying Ray Hedrick, who stayed with her for over 30 years.
What?
Wow.
Ray.
Wow.
Ray.
As an old lady, she keeps it tight. She's got this magic puss. Her nips
Blanche Devereaux could never.
Blanche could never. Not even Blanche.
No.
Not even Blanche, the hottest old lady.
To ever live.
Dolly and Otto's story inspired a 1968 comedy starring Shirley MacLaine, a 2018 Lifetime original movie where the guy playing Otto is like ripped, and it's just like, no, not our attic boy.
No.
We need a German accent. We need a receding hairline. We need some glasses. We need to be very small.
Most crucially, the story inspired a 1995 TV movie called The Man in the Attic, starring Ann Archer and Neil Patrick Harris.
Wow.
No. Now, Neil Patrick Harris would be a good small
Otto.
person. Yeah, yes. A good Otto.
And names are changed, but it's absolutely the Dolly and Otto and Fred story. Let us watch the 1 minute and 17 second trailer together.
Yes.
It is bonkers, and it is worth it.
Play it.
1, 2, 3, go.
Before the queen. He knows he's mine. He knows his one purpose in life is to bring me pleasure.
Get ready for something wild. Something sexy. Something dangerous.
You belong to me?
Paramount Home Video presents Academy Award nominee Ann Archer in an extraordinary and uninhibited breakthrough performance.
What have I done to you? You deserved a life. I've taken it away from you.
The story of one woman's quest for the perfect lover and the man determined to possess her.
I should have shot you long ago.
Neil Patrick Harris, an Academy Award nominee, Ann Archer, star in the movie event inspired by a true story.
Everything I did for Krista. It was all for love.
The Man in the Attic.
That's not acting.
Wow.
Wow.
The slave boy kneels before the queen.
I mean, that
is the best.
Crazy.
Academy Award nominee Ann Archer. Did you know Ann Archer was nominated for Academy Award?
It was like 3 times. And
they said it 3 times.
This was a breakthrough performance.
The best thing about Ann Archer is that she's a longtime Scientologist whose son, Tommy Davis, was the Scientology spokesperson internationally from 2006 until he was booted out in 2011.
Oh, is he
Wow.
suppressive?
Ann Archer's kid. I don't know what happened. I was looking it up this morning, because there's not a lot of info about him since then.
Well, if she's still alive, then she ain't talking to her son anymore then, which is really sad.
She ain't, because she's still in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Doogie Howser.
Doogie himself. There's the scenes of Ann Archer
like an actual
ripping.
child.
He does look like a child.
It's
Very
creepy.
good casting for Otto.
Yeah.
Ann Archer just ripping the buttons off of
Doogie
NPH's
Howser.
shirt. Of Doogie's
Him
shirt.
hiding in the corner.
With his round glasses.
With
So
the
they did a
round
good job with the glasses.
Mhm.
Listener, you've got to check out that trailer. It's a great minute and 17
The trailer,
seconds.
the trailer is very good.
Indeed.
The slave boy kneels before the queen.
Edie.
As of 1986, the house Fred died in still stood. But it wasn't a single-family home anymore. It was, like lots of larger LA homes, converted into an apartment building comprised of 9 small units.
Dang.
One of them
The attic.
was the attic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the story of Dolly and Fred and Otto.
Oh, thank you,
Fuck,
Edie.
Yes, Edie. That was magical and incredible.
It's my favorite thing. I've been looking
God.
forward to doing this one
10 years.
since I joined the pod.
2 states,
years.
3 attics.
2 states, 3 attics.
1 murder, 1
And he
acquittal.
didn't willingly leave. Can we just remember that?
He had to get kicked
He was
out.
shooed
Herman
away.
had to kick him out.
And then she was just like, "Oh, okay." I
I
mean,
guess,
yeah.
but you're still
some
here, right? You
respect.
got a dick? All right. I'm fine.
I know. And
She
it's the
just
perfect
needed
Edie
that
true
dick.
crime story because it's wild and wackadoo and 0 convictions, baby.
there you go.
It's a
There you
defense
go.
attorney's dream true crime story.
I mean, I'm so happy that you did it. I was excited from the second I figured it out. That was
seeing Mrs. Face on this recording call just light up when she knew.
uh-huh.
It
Because
was delightful.
the Spider-Man of Denver was like, this is survival. I killed this man.
Yeah, that's very sad.
Yeah, no, it is. It's such a sad story. But then this is like the antithesis of that. And he's just like, no, I loved it. It was the best time of my life.
He's
I
just
miss
a little
her.
pain pig, and he just loved it.
And that's
He loved to be the
fine.
pain pig
Good
in the
for
attic.
him. Good for him getting what he needs. I just think maybe there was a little coercion at the beginning.
Would you like to see a picture of Dolly around the time of the trial?
Fuck yes.
Wow.
Oh wow, that's
Okay, those are for the record, those are some tits.
Yep.
They're pendulous.
She had some pendulous hangers. Yeah, for sure.
Pendulous.
For sure.
Good for her.
And I love
There's-
that her little mink stole still has the face and the paws on it.
Mm-hmm,
You have to. You have to.
I have to say, I love that story. Thank you. It had so
Yes.
many elements that make a great story for this particular podcast, BT.
Yes.
podcast.
And that there was at the very end, for our queer asses at the very end, that there was an Ann Archer, Neil Patrick Harris TV movie.
Incredible, Edie. I will never forget it.
I'm so glad. Now
Kev?
entertained us, Kev.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm glad you told that story because I have a connection to what you're telling in the sense of sex, I guess I'll say. My story.
Ooh, sex.
Yeah. We're going to do some stuff today. It's going to be, I guess it's a little shorter, but there's good things to talk about, and I think you'll enjoy it. So this
talk about that.
particular subject, I came across from a suggestion from my husband, who, as we all know, works at a place with a lot of books. He has opportunities to find books on shelves, and he's doing a really cute thing as a husband where he's taken some pride in what I do with this podcast.
Aw.
And he sometimes will come across a book that he thinks that I'll like that will have like lore or mythology or true crime stuff.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's
There's
very
benefits to being in
cute.
bed with Big Library.
Truly is. But one of the books that he did bring home for me was a book written by a woman named Carol Rose, and it's entitled Spirits, Fairies, Leprechauns, and Goblins, an Encyclopedia.
Yes.
Fuck
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to be using this resource as a jumping off point for, I'm sure, many a spoopy story coming in the future.
Yeah.
This particular spirit we're going to be talking about today
Ooh, spirit.
is a house spirit, which is from the Russian Republic of Mariel, Mariel, which is about 500 miles or 800 kilometers east of Moscow. In that region, there is the Mari people, Mari, and they are considered one of the last pagan practitioners of Russia. So their religions are obviously based a lot on nature and animals and the spirits that dwell within those items. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about a spirit known as the Albastor, Albastor.
Albastor.
Yeah, Albastors can occupy either people's houses or, more commonly, the bathhouses.
Oh.
Because the Maori people are very close to like Finland, that kind of culture.
It's
so
big sauna stuff.
Big
Lots
sauna.
of saunas.
yes, it's very sauna heavy. Yeah,
I could never.
I couldn't. Well, no, I lie. I
No.
very well could, but yeah.
No, I can't. I can't be so close to publicly nude. I can't do it.
Well,
I
if
can't do it.
one is just stone cold nude, what's the problem?
That
then?
makes no difference to me.
No.
It
That's
makes it a
fair.
lot.
I am fundamentally different and worse than other people, and so I cannot be publicly nude amongst other publicly nude people.
That's you hit the nail on the head. Edie.
Fundamentally
That's right.
false, but we can move on.
So Albastors, they inhabit the bathhouses mainly in the guise of either a man or a woman, depending on their victim. Which, let's be honest, this was written by some lady named Carol Rose. It sounds like she was pretty heteronormative, so I'm going to go ahead and say that spirit was any kind of thing that the other person found attractive. How about that, Carol?
That
Look, Carol can't really. She's having a hard time breaking out of the gender binary, and she's
Truly.
having.
Even when it comes to fake creatures. Yeah, even when it comes to... But Albastors, they are types of either incubus or succubus. Because what they like to do is they go around the bathhouses or houses taking the form of a very hot, pale, obviously, man or a woman in order to have sex. They just are...
Okay.
So like a Timothée Chalamet.
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
All I
Or
said
like
was like...
or
I didn't
like
say
a Phoebe
frail.
Bridgers. I'm thinking of like an elfin.
I was thinking like
pale.
Fabio. Because it also says it comes in human form
That is
with
not-
very
that
long
is-
hair.
Oh, I will only be picturing Fabio.
Oh my god, y'all! Remember when a fucking bird hit Fabio in the
yes, the
face on a roller coaster?
Yes.
Of course.
I would never go outside again if I were Fabio.
Poor Fabio.
But that's the thing. I'm picturing Fabio.
okay.
Albastors, if they found their victim, they would start initiating sex with that victim. And it was
Initiating
their...
sex.
Initiate
Ominous.
sexual congress now.
It'd like to punish those who overindulged with sex with them
Okay, punish
by
me.
sexing them to death. They died via exhaustion.
Jennifer's body. This is Jennifer's body.
I guess so.
or
They
it
fucked
follows
them dead.
to
Yes.
death.
This is how Otto Zonnhuber wishes he could go.
Which is
just fuck until he can't, until his life force is completely drained and he gives it all to mommy.
Yep. Yes. And then he suddenly will eventually star in How I Met Your Mother. Yeah.
That's right. Right.
They overindulge by sexing them to death, not unlike Madonna's character in the movie Body of Evidence from 1993.
Yes. She sexed Willem Dafoe almost to death. She sexed him to ruin.
She sure did.
I don't know that one, but do y'all remember the pool scene in Showgirls?
Oh, yes. And that is also something I'm envisioning an Alabaster doing.
Yes. She literally tries to fuck him to death in the pool.
Where is the erotic thriller? Where is it?
We
had so many in the 90s, good ones and bad ones, but we have none.
We don't. So with Albastors, they didn't always kill their prey, I'll say. They did like to sex some to death, but they also just wanted to, get their leg over every now and then. They just wanted to indulge themselves. Yeah. So you could always tell if someone was visited by an Albastor because they would leave a sore on their lips, which was from when an Albastor kissed. Nothing else.
So a herpes?
No, not even.
That's a herpes sore. No, that's a herpes sore. That's
definitely herpes.
It was a kiss from an Alabastor. Y'all, get your head out of the gutter.
This is lore to explain.
This is
an
VD.
STI.
This is how VD started, guys.
This is Joey Tribbiani, the face of VD, in that one episode where he got a billboard.
Well, that couldn't possibly be what an Albastor does, because also I was reading, if the person that they were having sex with is either married or in a relationship with them, the Albastor also tends to make their partner sick as well.
And that wouldn't. Yeah,
without coming in contact with them. So
coming in contact.
Mm-hmm. So again, this has nothing to do with STIs, y'all.
It's not. It's definitely not an STI. It's just that the Albastor visited person 1 and then punished person 2, who's in a relationship with person 1, just because.
Yes.
And it's not an STI. And don't ask me about it.
And don't ask me about it again. And if they could also, they were shapeshifters. They didn't have to always look like Fabio if they didn't want to. When they were on the ground, they were able to shapeshift into any type of animal. But
oh no, what are they getting up to? No,
nothing really. From my research, nothing much. They just like to, I guess, change and shapeshift. But they didn't. If they wanted to fly away, they didn't shapeshift into like a bird or a bat or an insect. What they did turn into was the gayest thing I could have thought of. They turned into a shooting star with a trail of dust behind them.
Literally the gayest thing I've ever heard. Yeah.
She's so lucky.
Yeah.
She's a star.
Mm-hmm. Like she is serving the more you know PSA realness. Yes.
Oh my God. The more you know. The more you know about Albastors.
And they were created supposedly by souls of unbaptized illegitimate infants.
Oh, that's me. Unbaptized. I was legitimate, but I'm unbaptized.
You were legitimate, though.
I know, unfortunately.
My grandmother took me, unbeknownst to my mother or the nurses at the Johns Hopkins Hospital, into a bathroom to give me a layperson's baptism because she did not want me to die before leaving the hospital and be stuck in purgatory forever. That is how Catholic we came from.
That's Catholic, I'll say.
That is Catholic. It's super Catholic.
It's deeply Catholic.
There are ways that you can defeat an Albastor. There are two different ways. One is not so much defeating them. The other one is more so a way to deter them, I would say. But the one way where you could defeat them is if they are in human form. So as long as they're not an animal or a shooting star, you could catch it and break the little finger on its left hand, because that is apparently where its power is. So if you break
we're saying break the Coke finger?
Walk up to Fabio, break his pinky.
Break his Coke finger.
Break his Coke finger.
And then that'll remove his powers, or that will kill him.
That'll remove his powers, which I believe kills him. And if you want to just deter them from coming into your home, all you have to do is put a cross over each of your doors in the house, and that's all you have to do. So
right. That tracks.
Yeah.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
That is truly, yeah. So if you were ever finding yourself in the Maria El Republic of Russia, and you need to find somewhere and kill something, you could go to find an Albaster in that region. Just break its pinky. But don't let it kiss you.
Oh.
Or fuck you to death.
Then you'll get the herp. You'll get the herp.
I wonder how many people in this area just got it in a little too much and got their pinkies fucking broken by their neighbors after they fucking cuckolded them or whatever.
Yeah. They believe in a lot of
You cucked me and gave me VD. I'm breaking your pinky. You're a demon.
My husband found another entry from the book from the same peoples. They also believe that there's some spirit, I think, that lives in the river. And if you are to like either drink from it, or especially if you pee from it, it has the ability to give you sores all over your mouth or your penis, whichever one he wants.
Well, you know who could take one of these? You know who could take one of these guys down? Dolly. Dolly could have handled this situation with that magic.
The Albaster would be like, Dolly, enough. I can't keep up with you. I can't. I'm chafed. I'm hurt. I'm broken.
Going to die.
Tired.
I'm going to. You're fucking me to death, Dolly.
How?
How is it that you are getting stronger and I am getting weaker?
She just gets stronger every time.
There can only be one supreme. Yeah.
I'm fading away like Marty McFly at the climax of Back to the Future. Photographs of me are just fading. Dolly's living. Dolly's living. Finally satisfied.
Kevin, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that story. That was incredible.
Oh my God,
Kevin's doing a little hair flip.
The Albaster of Eastern Russia.
It's the fuck monster.
Is this our horniest episode?
This very well could be the horniest episode.
I'd put money that this is, in fact, our horniest episode.
And my mother-in-law, if you've made it to the end of this episode, because when she was here, I gave her our link to the website. So if you've made it this far, thank you.
Thank you, and I'm sorry.
If I had known you were listening, ma'am, maybe I would have talked a little bit less about being a little pain piggy in the attic. But realistically, no, I would have talked the exact same amount about it.
Yeah, no, facts are facts.
Yeah, facts are facts, America. Yeah.
Honestly, y'all, this was the best week I could have chosen to be the audience. Both of those were incredible. Honestly, this is the best. Like, this is a good one.
This was such a horny time.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. But Miss, if someone wanted to find us to tell us if they have fucked a house spirit before, or if they've kept a lover in their attic for 10 years, where could they find us?
Well, please find us if that's the case. You can hit us up at Instagram at Creepy Inquiries Pod. You can post it, or you can send us a cute little DM. You can also send us an email at creepyinquiriespod.com. And if you are interested at all, you could maybe go on your favorite platform and give us a cute little rate and review. We always prefer a 5-star situation. So
5 stars, or I'm going to pump and dump it with you. I'll make you fall in love with me, and then I am going to fly off into the night in the form of a shooting star.
While leaving you with herpes.
And they'll do it, y'all. They will.
I'm sorry. It was called a love kiss. It was a kiss.
It was a love kiss.
It was just a little kiss.
But please feel free to do that. Also, if you're interested in our sources, they're always up at creepyinquiriespod.com.
Yeah, that's right.
Listener, thank you so much for joining us on episode 58, the Courtney Love Aged episode. And until next time, goodbye.